Hey, and welcome, guys. Today I'm going to be putting together the Robocop. As you can see, this is 3D printed. This file was on Thingiverse. I'll try and add that to the description below. As you can see, it's already printed out. Now, I had a lot of issues with my printer. I recently accidentally damaged it. I had a failed print and forgot to remove the failed print part off my build plate. Went to print something and lowered it down, and it damaged the LCD screen that is below the vat of resin, if you know anything about resin printers. I didn't know that it damaged it at the time, but it's slowly, the LCD screen is going bad. I'll post a picture of what I looked at the LCD screen. I'll put a picture up of that so you can see where the dark spots are on the screen. Those are not allowing the UV light to pass through and harden the resin. As a result, my prints are coming up with these holes in it, and that's where those dark spots are not allowing the resin to harden. So I've ordered a new screen for my Orange 30 from Longer Printer. It was $34, and that included shipping. But it is coming from China, so it's probably going to be several weeks. But it was several weeks ago that I did that. So hopefully it'll be here in the next few weeks and I can get back to printing. So very unfortunate, but totally my fault. The LCD screen is pretty thin, and it probably doesn't take much to damage it. So, but as you can see, kind of difficult. But I was able to kind of print this out enough to where I'd already started to printing this. You can see there's been a lot of work on all these parts. Just to get these up, because I do want to finish this project. I had several holes like this one. I think I was trying to move stuff around to get it to where and have it as many holes, but I still had several. Ended up just taking pieces of plastic from the runners of other models and kind of trimmed them down, putting them inside the holes with super glue, and then sanding them down. So as you can see, there's a piece right there that covered a hole. The head had a little bit, this head had a little bit of a, this one had some pretty major holes, including one big one in the face. This one only had a spot right here. You can kind of see the outline. I filled it in with super glue and have sanded it down. Once I put some primer on it, I'll be able to see what kind of cleanup I need to do to finish that. I think I got the arms and hands out without having too much issue on that. And the legs had several issues. I had some holes in here. Anywhere you kind of see this, where I've been working on it, I had some difficulties. But anyway, so I think I got to a point where I can start assembling it and putting this together. Now, when this is assembled, it's going to be just over 7 inches long, and I want to put that with my, I believe it's Horizons vinyl, my Ed 209, and I'm going to show you that. And here's my Ed 209 from Horizons model. This is a vinyl kit. I did a couple of videos on it before. The initial build, I also did some repainting. Well, I've gone back and did even more. One of the parts that I was kind of unhappy about was these back part of the legs, this framework. I found a Ed 209 on Thingiverse where this was its own little part, and I was always unhappy. Here's the original part. I just kind of sealed that in. I didn't want to cut through this vinyl and make that flimsy, though I have seen people do it successfully. That's always been a part that bothered me because that was supposed to be hollow inside there. So I found those that section, fortunately, on an Ed 209 and printed just that part. I had to kind of figure out the measurements on this one and put those in, but when I sliced the file, but not too bad. So I printed those out. Again, I had some issues with some holes from my faulty screen, but they weren't too major, and I was able to fix those. But I was able to print those out, and as you can see in here, they're hollow. And I found just some bolts from my drawer full of miscellaneous things and put those inside there. So I think that helps give it a more accurate look, and very happy with that. So anyway, I'm printing this Robocop to kind of go along with this. I'm trying to get it in scale. I'm not sure of their exact sizes. I think this is going to be fairly close. You know, when I watched the movie, he's the Ed 209. It looks like he's at one point Robocop grabs the gun on the one side, and so he's standing about that, so it's hard to tell. So hopefully that's kind of getting in scale with that. Now I'm going to pose him with his gun, which is, I know he doesn't do that in that particular scene in the movie, but this, and they do give a couple options. They give you on the file you can print out with or without a gun, but I'm going to go ahead and print with the gun, and he'll be sitting up there and displayed. Now I've already printed one of these out, Robocop's out earlier, and he was just a bit too small and he didn't look in scale. As you can see right here, I went in and painted him up, so this was good practice on how I'm going to do this one. As you can see, this one's a inch and a half or so taller, and this one just looked too small. This one looks more in scale with what we see in the movies. So, but anyway, was able to practice, and I was pretty happy with how I got his armor. I used I think a silver from Model Master, and then did some transparent blue mixed in with it to kind of give it that bluish tint. And I think he even has a little bit of purple, but pretty happy with how that came out. Only thing is his face is not super detailed. I didn't spend a lot of time on that. So, but I think he came out pretty good. So I'm going to be following that example as we paint this one up. We'll be, like I said, I did most of the body work already, just getting it ready for paint. So I'm going to be priming all these parts up. The way it's sectioned out, we'll be able to do a lot of like these. We can just paint black and kind of leave them a gloss black, and they'll be good to go. This one, we'll just have to do some detailed painting with the black sections, and of course his face right here. Now I have taken a file and a razor to kind of clean up and give this his head a little bit sharper lines around the jaw and jaw area. That was a little soft, so I'll be working on that to give it a little bit more definition. So anyway, let's get to priming this up, and I'm going to be doing it in pieces. We can paint the different pieces and then we can assemble it, and I believe that's the way I did this one. Is I painted all the separate pieces, the arms, head, and then assembled everything with some I think I just used super glue on this, but I may be using some 2-part epoxy to do the bigger one. So I'm going to get busy getting this all primed up. All right, here's my finished 3D printed Robocop. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how it came out, especially with all the flaws that came out in the printing. I did get in a new screen and replaced the LCD screen. That's what it looks like. This was the brick one. I replaced that. It was pretty simple. Just taking it off and plugging it in. So it seems to be working fine. So hopefully I can get back to doing some more 3D prints. Anyway, I finished them up. Obviously, as you can see, I had some. I used Model Master Silver, and then with a little bit of transparent blue just to kind of accent some of his armor, give it kind of that bluish silver tint. Use some gloss black for the rest of his body parts. A little black gray for his gun with a little silver dry brushing to bring out the lines on the gun. I think it's a pretty good scale for this. I think I can put together some kind of small scenic display. I don't have a lot of room for it, so they don't have to be close together. But I think when it's mixed together, it'll look pretty good. Still learning how to kind of paint faces. I did try to use some glazing techniques, I think it's called, where you use like a reddish brown wash kind of to glaze over and give some color to his face. So still working on that. Have a long way to go on painting faces, but I think he turned out pretty good given all the issues I had. So anyway, guys, hope you've enjoyed this video. Until next time, everybody have a good one.